What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, with another one-on-one with a supervillain. As you already know, if you've seen the past ones, this is for the members of my supervillain squad for the $25 and up tier. And what we do is we sit down and we just hang out for at least an hour and talk about everything they want to talk about. This ain't about me. It's about them. So I'm back with the man who I've enjoyed having a great conversation with, and he saved something. I remember him from the last one. Said I'm saving this for the next one, so I can't wait to hear what he got to talk about. Mr. Jim Payne, what's going on, sir?
Hey Jay, how you doing?
I'm trying to stay awake.
Yeah, I just got done watching today's Blurs, and I know you're pushing it today.
Oh, pushing it is not even the word. Like I'm trying to make it through. So I'm gonna chew on this turkey sausage.
I'm happy you guys are going 2 days a week now.
Thank you, man. It was a we had been, debating it for a moment. We were like, because we keep missing every time we would wrap up Blurs on Tuesday, there'd end up being some crazy stuff happening either right after the show was done or the next day. And so we were like, yo, what about going twice a week? And we kept going back and forth. Like, would people be really onto it? Because, people always say, yeah, we want to see it more and blah, 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 blah. And we were like, yeah, people really show up for it. And so we were like, all right, we're going to throw it out there and see what happens. And luckily, when we went today, we literally pretty much had the same numbers we have on a Tuesday. So I was like, if this is indicative, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, sorry I can't ever watch live, but working third shift.
Working third shift. Trust me, I've been there. I know that. I know that pain.
That's it. Oh, and congrats on Manscaped. You guys.
Thank you.
You guys you've been telling us you have the pokers in the fire, and it's nice to see some of them coming out now.
Yeah, thank you. That one was an interesting get for us because Manscaped went on Twitter and they were like, what podcast should we be sponsoring and blah, 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 blah. And evidently a lot of people tagged me and Winston for Blurs because I ended up getting an email from one of the reps. It was like, hey, people recommended your show, Blurs in the Hood, blah, 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 blah. They was like, can you give us the demographics, your reaches and your numbers and all that? And I was like, all right, cool. And I gave them everything. And they was like, okay, cool. So what we want to do is what we do with everybody. We want to test you guys out to see how we do for the first month. If you guys can get at least 10 people to get something, we'll talk further. And I was like, 10 people? That's it?
When they set the bar low, just step over it and keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Because I was like, because when we first announced it, that's why we were only pushing it because we couldn't do it live until this past Tuesday, the 15th. So we could push it social media wise, though. They said you can push it social media, but we don't want it live, like out to the public as far as the show, podcast format, anything. So we're like, cool. I was like, hey man, can y'all go ahead and get this now? Like, so everybody like, go ahead and buy this. So
yeah, that's great. I love hearing you guys' successes. I mean, I've sent our one-on-ones to a couple online friends, and one of the guys, he's up in Canada, and he's like, hey, I've seen him on movie fights. Like, yeah, and he does movie fights, and I gave him your rundown, and
cool.
I think I got him hooked for you now.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. It's these, the victories, it's the successes right now are big but weird at the same time. Like, you're grateful for them, but they're weird because you can't celebrate them like you want to with everything going on. And like, it's just weird now. Like, I just having the thing working with America's Funniest Home Videos, which first and foremost was surreal. Like, you grow up as a kid, you watch the show, and then you still see it, and then when you find out the channel wants to work with you to do stuff with their videos, and you like, y'all have seen what I do, right? Like, who I like, I get it. I can be family friendly, but I just want y'all to know, oops, might happen. And so to work with them was cool, but it's like, again, with everything going on, it's like, man, this weird.
Yeah, I was this is, I watched Blurs today, and even the Karen from Tuesday, and you just think, how is this world still so shitty sometimes?
It's
Yeah,
surreal. It's surreal. Again, it's like everybody, I had a couple friends of mine hit me up and they were like, yo, how is it that you can keep finding those videos to do that Karen thing? I was like, because it keeps happening.
yeah,
It is we're never gonna be like, it's not like I'm going back,
mm,
further back and like months ago to find these. These are every time
right.
a video happens, I'm like, well, that's the one for the words. Like it happens within the time frame between show to show. And so it's you just look at this world and you're like, yeah, this is what it is.
Yeah, well, I know you say it's hard to appreciate your success, but you gotta. I
Yeah.
mean, or things will just weigh you down so much. I mean, I know it's hard to stay positive, but the more of us that do, the better the place will be.
And
The world.
I agree with that. I
I
definitely
mean,
agree with that.
I look behind you, and I love that you have Schnapp behind you over your
Uh,
show
yeah,
because
man.
I I would have loved to have met him, because he's actually he's a couple months younger than I am. Him
Mm,
and Burnett are born just after I was, so they're the guys I grew up with. I fall into that nerd. Like you were talking about how black nerds are one thing. We're all just grapes on the same bunch. Yeah,
right.
we're
Right,
all
absolutely.
together. Yeah, and we should all. But yeah, you might have your little circle, but the bigger thing is we all should get along and be down with we all enjoy the same thing. It doesn't matter. I heard you love Lovecraft Country. That just tickled me pink. I want to talk about that.
Well, I guess because I didn't plan on watching it like that. I planned on waiting to watch it.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people where for some weird odd reason, I can hear a bunch of people and see a bunch of people talking about a show. And I'm like, if I'm not already into it, I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll wait. And then one day I just was like, you know what? This was after they dropped the episode 4 early because of the holiday. I was like, whatever. I'm gonna just go ahead and binge it. And then I started watching it. I was like, oh, oh, I like this. And so I'm into it now. And it's so weird. Like I wish I'd because again, I did that with the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
Season 2 had dropped, and I
Mm,
never seen season 1. And so I was like, I'm not gonna watch season 2 without watching season 1. And so I
yeah.
watched season 1. I think the first thing for me was though, because everybody kept trying to compare it to Doom Patrol. And I'm
Mhm,
like, stop comparing it. They're both weird, yes, but they're
mm,
their own type of weird.
yeah. Yeah. It's like I've heard a lot of people comparing Lovecraft Country to the 2 seasons of Penny Dreadful. Yeah, kind of, but not
The
really.
same.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, okay, if you're going to get them in the same ballpark, okay. But one's in left field and the other's at home plate.
I never understand why people can't just allow some shows to just be themselves. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, why does it need to be a comparison to anything? I
Yeah.
think like you have a lot of shows that are just they stand alone. They're good. They're
Yeah.
good for their genre. If you're gonna put it in a genre, okay, fine, but don't compare it to another specific show.
Yeah. And well, I think sometimes when you're trying to sell it to people, you want to give them that reference. But yeah, you're right. You just tell them it's good and they should watch it,
I I
and let
follow
them
Doom,
make up.
I follow Doom Patrol on Twitter, and I remember when Umbrella Academy season 2 had dropped, and somebody was like, they had got tagged with somebody posting the trailer for Umbrella Season Academy, and they retweeted it and was like, "We did it first." I was like, "Yo!"
Yeah.
I think it's
Now,
just interesting to see all that, man. The way it's
yeah,
done and
yeah.
everything. But
Well,
again, the show itself is great.
yeah. What I really like about it, I mean, they are weaving everything together beautifully. You know,
Yes.
it's if you're a Lovecraft fan, everything they're doing is his style and um his writing, his stories, with the addition of the 50s racism and the issue, all
which is
those.
scarier than the horror stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's when the supernatural hits, you can say, okay, well, that's just the messed up shit. That's just
Right. You look, because the racism stuff is like, again, for it to be the 50s on the south side of Chicago, which is exactly how it was.
yeah,
Like, and you hear about the things again, sundown towns are still a thing to this day.
yeah.
I remember,
See,
because again, that's what I remember when I saw everybody talking about the first episode, and everybody was talking about some sundown towns, and I would comment on it because I'm like, yeah, those are real things still. And some people were like, oh, they just made this up, and everybody was like, no,
that's honestly, I didn't know about sundown towns. I'm
really?
old, but I'm not that old.
Yeah.
So they were, and being white, I don't, that
No,
doesn't.
yeah, I got you.
It just, but yeah, it was something I went and looked and like, holy shit, this was real. How did they allow that?
Well, you got to remember again, because again, you asked a great question. It's like, how did they allow that? But you remember that in their eyes back in the day when they were doing this, it was right and legal.
Yeah. It's, I guess that's you realize how screwed up we were, it's still screwed up today in different ways, but they're still screwing everything up.
Mm-hmm. You have so many people who want to go back to those ways where, for lack of better words, they felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to remind them, like, yo, things change for a reason.
Yeah.
Times change for a reason.
Yeah, and that's, when I was a kid, America was taught everything. One of the big things they taught, America's a melting pot. Mm-hmm. You have people from everywhere. And I don't hear that much anymore, like from anyone. Like, everybody is kind of siloing, which is scary.
Mm-hmm.
But
because now people are just because when we kept hearing America's a melting pot, people from everywhere, we were hearing that while people were still coming, and we've hit the point where even those generations that were saying that just look at everything now as, I'm an American.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, you're American now, but where 9 times out of 10 your family origins do not trace here.
Yeah.
And people forget that. And again, the melting pot thing is one of the biggest things, because you have this group of idiots that we just will say that to be nice about it, who keep forgetting that this melting pot and all these other different cultures and races are why America has the majority of things it has.
Yeah. And that's, why I think if we were actually using it and doing it the way it was you would learn about other cultures. You would learn about other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dad and I. My dad's even more hardcore Democrat than I am. He's like, he doesn't call him the orange fuck muppet, but he trademarked Jay Washington. But he just hates Trump, and it's really, I don't know. I kept thinking before this, I wasn't going to get into the politics this time because it's depressing the shit out of me. But, it is the biggest topic of
Well, of course, because it's the election cycle, number one. But I don't even think it's so much because of the fact everybody's like, it's the election season. It's the fact that what is happening just in general is so surreal that it's being allowed to occur on the level that it's being allowed to occur.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things. It's depressing because again, like we always, you see so many people going, well, what about this president? And then like black people like, yeah, okay. So since you want to do that, if Barack Obama did 1/16 of what he does, this orange fuck muppet does, he would have been crucified at the White House.
Yeah.
He'd have been drug out.
Well, and this is this is an extreme, but this is how probably 1928 to 1932 Germany was. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when Hitler is starting, these things are okay, you know, and they keep moving the goal line, and what's okay is over in fucked up land, and
Because
and
when
that,
they put this goalpost so far back to what you can't do, because now, as much, it's so funny that we talk about this because it just made me think about something. Everything dude has done that is literally against the exact Constitution, right? The same Constitution that people are like, well, the Constitution grants these blah 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 and this, that, and the third, and everybody should respect it. And you're like, clearly that ain't the fucking case.
nah,
Like you
that
see what happens.
there's too much justifying and uh, escape it or scapegoating and uh, just basically, you know, the old saying, excuses are like assholes. Everyone has one.
But the
Um,
problem is, it's like the problem with that is just to like, what scapegoat could you possibly say validates this? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's nothing.
yeah. No, that's they like you guys talked about the camps down at the border.
Mm-hmm.
Those that should be he should be arrested for having them. Really.
Literally, like, what there is no legal justification for that. And the fact is, we all go about to knowing like, oh, well, how does Congress allow? And it's like that. It's not Congress.
No.
It's the Senate who, for some reason, they try to use it under the party, but it's not the party, it's him.
Yeah. Well, and that's he has enough side channels that he can actually skirt both houses, both Congress and the Senate, to get some of this shit done. Now he can't, and that's one of my complaints being former military is he can't use the real military. So he's like the people he's sending up to Portland. They're
Mhm.
all contractors from different
Oh,
companies,
yeah.
you know, and that's mostly probably what he's using down at the border too, you know,
Yeah, of
is
course you can use
these
it.
companies that
That's why everybody's like, oh, if he loses the election, he's gonna use the military. Like, you don't get it. He can't.
nah, I've seen too many statements from 4-star, 3-star generals. They will come and help him move.
Right. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
people understand. If it's announced on November 3rd that Joe Biden won, once he becomes president elect, everything changes.
yeah, yeah. And that's that idiot Roger Stone was saying Trump, if he loses the election, Trump should declare martial law. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
It
That's
can't, he just can't because
that's everything else that's messed up with our country. One thing that we've done right and should be proud of, we have never had tanks in the streets after an election, or
right. And if he tries to use tanks in the streets just to justify him losing,
mm-hmm.
because he's literally all see the thing is, and one of my friends brought this back up to me a couple days ago. He never wanted this job. He
Yeah,
never really wanted it. We all know he didn't. Because
yeah,
that's why he ran the way he ran. He didn't run. Yeah, he said what he wanted to say because he was like, there's no chance I'm going to win.
yeah.
Then you win, and now you're stuck at a job you really don't want.
No, well, I think he wants it in that he's going to take as much as he can
Oh, yeah, to
from
build his
us.
businesses and stuff like, oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
he's finding his silver lining is, hey,
Well,
I
yeah.
can now rob
Oh,
rob
yeah.
the entire country instead of a few people at a
No,
time.
absolutely. So that's a given. But at the same time, he knows he doesn't know what he's doing. He
Yeah,
knows this. But the
yeah,
fact is, one of the things I always will, for lack of better words, give him credit for is knowing his base.
hmm,
He knows he has a bunch of idiot followers who hang on his every single word. He
yeah,
knows it. This dude literally just said coronavirus cases in the United States are low if you don't count the blue states.
Mm-hmm.
What? But this is the same president that they say is he's trying to unite us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and he's the idiot that said that we should get out there and create a herd mentality against corona and virus instead of herd immunity. He may be the dumbest person I know. I mean, even some of the really stupid people I've met in my life aren't that dumb.
Aren't at that level of dumb.
Yeah.
His level of dumb is astonishing dumb.
Yeah.
But
well,
again,
it's arrogant dumb.
And that's the worst. And that's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
The arrogant dummy who doesn't care.
Yeah.
Who what? I can't do what? You sure? That's the worst person.
Yeah. Let's talk some nerd stuff.
Let's do that, please, because this
Lovecraft Country, you really digging it?
You know what? Again, I'm not familiar with any of the Lovecraft books or whatnot, but from what I've been reading, because I've been doing a lot of internet searching, whatnot afterwards, and seeing all this, and it was Lovecraft himself that was racist, right?
Yeah, but he was, he wrote some. They said it in the first episode about the origins of the black man, and and he wrote that in 1919. Probably never having seen a black man, he was everybody said he was racist, but his best friends were Jewish. He married a Jewish woman.
Well, I think the racism comes. I think that's the thing too. I think it's just he was racist only towards black people.
No, in his writings, it was kind of, Africa was still the unknown really at that time, and he would set up mysterious things and that's what I think people take as race. I don't think he had the views of the time. I won't say that, but it wasn't like he was like, I know there are other writers that were actively racist.
Oh yeah.
He was just kind of that isolated, didn't know any better, but they're different. They're the different, so I can use them as a plot device type.
Oh.
And I know that isn't much better, but it isn't. When people say he's racist, they think of in terms of today, but he was of his time. Really.
Okay.
He died.
I knew nothing. Going into this again, I knew nothing, and I was cool with it. Yeah. I was cool with not knowing. Like, again, I'm hearing this, and then I'm reading the follow up again through social media, just in researching articles and whatnot, and so I see all that. But I like it because it's so strange, and how, like you said, everything connects. Mm-hmm. There isn't anything that's just left out to be left out. There's a reasoning behind everything. The language of Adam, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and they haven't even brought in the Necronomicon yet. So
they mentioned it. They mentioned the Necronomicon. They mentioned it. I'm like, wait. So we're going Evil Dead, bring out the Book of the Dead. But
well, Lovecraft created that, and Evil Dead took it from him.
Oh,
yeah, they borrowed that from him. That's what I say is his writing. Yeah, it's like Mark Twain wrote racist stuff, but it was his time. It gives you a look of what 1870 looked like. He wasn't doing it to be evil or mean, I don't think. He was just saying this is what life's like today. And Lovecraft, while he was doing fantasy and sci-fi and that, but it was that, he one of his things was immigrants in the Red Hook district in New York. Those were all Eastern European, and they were European people that. So it wasn't. It was
No, I
he
get what
was.
you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get where you're
Yeah,
coming. Okay.
and so it
Yeah,
isn't.
it just gives me better insight at the end of the day because, like I said, I'm not familiar. So, but
Yeah,
watching it, and I love the way Jonathan Majors, like, dude is blowing up quickly. And
him
Journey
and
Smollett,
Journey.
what'd you say? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Journey Smollett's doing awesome. It pissed me off about Courtney B. Vance.
I was like, wait, no. I was like, it's episode 3. No.
Yeah, and he was a real. He was kind of a Lovecraft. There's always that older, smarter professor type in the Lovecraft stories.
And that was him.
That was him. He was that role, and that's why I'm saying they're doing a great job of mixing everything together so it all works.
I
It's
know.
not.
I just was like, wait, what? I was like, wait, no. I was like, he's so because when he died in 3, I was like, okay, there's magic, right? We know magic and shit exists. So he gonna come back, right? Episode 4. Episode 4 happened. I was like, so we just he dead. He's for real, like he's gone, and that's what we
I'm,
were. And I was like, ugh.
yeah, I'm not completely sure, but I think it's the case of the big actor. Hey, I can give you 2 episodes, but then I gotta be on set elsewhere.
That's what Mahershala Ali and Luke Cage was.
Yeah.
People because I remember everybody, myself included, was like, yo, why you kill Cottonmouth? And then Shea Coker had to go like, look, I only had him for 7 episodes. You could have spaced out the 7.
Yeah.
It could have been the last 7. But I get it because of scheduling, scheduling and whatnot. Again, he's like you said, these big actors are like, yo, I can give you this much time, but I got other stuff I got to work on.
Well, even the other characters in Lovecraft Country, the sister, the Ruby.
Yes.
She messed me up because she's another one of those British people coming over stealing our jobs.
British?
She's British. I went on YouTube I was like, what has she been in other things? What's she done? And I'm looking and I pulled up a clip of her winning a BAFTA award for a movie a year or 2 ago. And it's like, all right, they're just too damn good at fooling me.
Again, that's this big thing for me, especially as a black actor, when it's like, it's weird because it's weird how to say it because there's been this big argument recently about actual Black American actors and Black British actors who come over, and because they can they can do a voice, they can do an accent in a sense. Now that, again, granted, it's not taken away from their acting abilities. It doesn't take, not dismissing that, but it's like now you allow all of those of us here who are trying to get these roles, we can't because now we have to worry about all of the Brits coming over, and I heard somebody say, well, go to Britain and get those roles. You don't get it. There's a reason they come to America for these roles.
Right. Yeah.
There's a reason. Right. And it's like, damn, it's like now you have to be not just twice as good, you got to be 4 times as good whenever you step into a room.
And even when the Oscars So White was going on, I went and looked, and it's not a big deal, but it wasn't white Americans. It was Brit.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kicking our asses in the acting skills.
Really, and again, I don't think people see it, and it comes off as a bad thing, but it's like it really is almost a testament to saying our American actors good. Because again, it's not saying that American actors as a whole are terrible, because we have some of the greatest actors that have ever come from America. But when you look at it now, and you look at this wave of British talent, not just Black, just in general. When I found out Charlie Heston, whatever his name is, that plays he plays on Stranger Things, and he's Sam in the New Mutants. When I found out he was British, I was like, what? When I found out the dude who plays Robin, Nightwing in Titans, Brendan Thwaites, I should have known because of his last name that he was
Yeah.
British. But I was like, maybe he has family who's from Britain and blah, 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 blah. I was like, he's a Brit. And I'm like, okay, what, how, what?
Well, and I've heard different argument. It's the Brits go into acting to be theater actors, and that Americans go into it for the money and the fame. They
Yeah,
want
they
to
go
be
into it for the
famous.
craft.
They,
Yeah.
they, and that's one thing that I've heard. But and it's not like this is new. I can remember in Living Color, it was all the Wayans brothers, and they're doing a scene as thugs, and then uh, uh, director yells cut, and they all change to either
Uh-huh.
British or gay accent. It's like it's like yeah, that's
That's a common. That's a common sketch and a common thing done. Key and Peele actually did a sketch about it where Keegan and Jordan were playing thugs in a movie, and they were at it with guns drawn at each other,
yeah.
and Jordan was like, "You can't play me, motherfucker. I'm the motherfucker that plays motherfuckers." And then you had Keegan like, "Yeah, motherfucker." And they going back and forth, and the director yells, "Cut!" And the director goes to Keegan, says, "You're doing wonderful." And then goes to Jordan, I'm not feeling like you're from the streets." And then here goes Keegan's like, "Well, if I might tell you, I might say my mom back in the late." I was like, because I get it. Because also Keegan's ex-wife was a dialect coach.
Mm,
So he learned how to do every type of accent that he needed to do from his ex-wife, which was
yeah,
a great thing. And she was training up Brits in an American voice.
yeah.
It's,
He does a great James Franklin, the Penn State football coach. Have you seen those?
no.
He went to Penn State, and they have a passing. They're both Keegan's a little darker, but Franklin's half black, half white too.
Mm.
Um, so they look, and that with the bald heads and he puts on the glasses, and they look somewhat alike. A matter of fact, he did College Game Day one time, and Franklin was getting hate mail because Keegan said a bunch of Keegan stuff, and everybody thought it
And
was
people thinking it was him.
yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But
That's I've
it,
been thinking about when all this opens up. If this opens up and starts back up running, I've never done it before, but I'm thinking about taking a few acting classes just to get in like the theater world because it seems to be the easier transition. Like I've done TV and film already. I audition and I'm able to book stuff, but it's also okay, if this is gonna help in any way, I'll go for it. If I gotta, my darling, I just want you to know, my love, all those type of scenes.
yeah, well, that's it's like you were saying last time, how you get in the ring to work on just to keep things. It's the same idea,
Speaking
take
of
the
which, I'm
classes to
sharpening that acting muscle.
yeah.
I was supposed to try to get in the ring for the past couple weeks. And I couldn't because every time I would step outside, I was like, okay, so my throat is on fire now. Because we had this terrible air quality out here. It's still pretty bad. It's not as bad as it was, but it was just terrible. It's like I was gonna go out. I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna go. I gotta wait on the Uber, go to get in the ring. I gotta be outside, walking to the ring, burn around the ring, hopefully catch my breath to go back out in this terrible air. I was like, this is not gonna be a good thing for me unless I have an oxygen tank literally on standby.
Yeah, nah, that's I've only seen the film from out there, but it's just another 2020. Yeah, massive forest fires. What's October bringing us?
Well,
Alien
because the crazy
invasion.
thing about it is, so from what I've gathered since I've been out here in California, wildfires in general aren't anything new. It happens.
Yeah,
You have trees dry out from the weather, from the summer and whatnot. Lightning strikes in a forest, boom. Or you have the trees that get so dried out, the sun causes them to combust on the inside, flames. Perfect. But the majority has been started by that gender reveal thing.
yeah,
And so you have that, and then it's gone up the whole entire West Coast. Because, like I said, I'm going to hang with my daughter for her birthday. My daughter's in Tacoma, which is a suburb of Seattle.
yeah.
And her mom was like, well, I was going to take her to the zoo for her birthday, but the air quality out here is still terrible and it might not be open because of that. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, I'm bringing my Sega Genesis so she can play Sonic the Hedgehog with me if she wants to.
No, that's. I'm sure she'll just be happy to have you there. That's.
She has no idea.
Yeah,
She has
that's
no idea. So I've tried like to make sure I don't like I normally FaceTime her and talk to her every day almost. So I talked to her yesterday. I didn't talk to her today because I was exhausted anyway. But like she has zero clue. She just knows she's getting stuff for her birthday. Her birthday's gonna come up. She thinks she's just gonna FaceTime her dad for her birthday. I get in tomorrow at about 2 o'clock, 2:30, right when she's done with her classes. And because I'm taking the bus down, because I got to take the bus from Seattle to Tacoma and all that's like 2 hours. But by the time I get there, she has no idea. She
that's
has
cool.
zero clue that her dad comes, that her dad, she's gonna freak out. And then I
Yeah,
got her a birthday gift that she's been wanting, so she's gonna lose it all weekend. So I'm
that,
really excited for her because like I haven't had a chance to go up there in a while. And
yeah,
so to hang with her is gonna be a big fun thing for me.
that's cool. Ah, that's you spend time with them.
What'd you think of the Mandalorian trailer?
I loved it. Uh, I one a lot of people said it was minimalist. It didn't give any plot away, but it got you excited.
What it needs, dude. I can't tell you how many times I'm tired of seeing trailers where I'm like, oh, so if I move that there, this here, that part there, I know the story pretty much. I just need the little filler parts.
Yeah,
Like I don't want to know the story.
right. That's I thought it was really cool. They worked Sasha in, and you still don't know who she's gonna be. She could be who everyone thinks they cast her as.
And
Uh,
it's gonna be funny if she's not.
yeah, Um, I I'm one. I would love it if she was because she actually would look like an older version of. Well, it's Sabine. Sorry, spoilers. Um, from Rebels, because she would fit an older version of that. And yes, it's because she usually has purple or some dyed hair, and so did Sabine.
But
But
that's
she
why
had,
I think they had her cloaked and
yeah,
hooded up. So we don't know if she has her purple hair by the time, or if they gave her black hair or whatever the case may be.
yeah, no, that and she the look is uh, the outfit was enough that you could say, well, is she a Jedi or is
That was
she?
what everybody was like. Everybody's like, yo, is she yo, it's because I'm be honest, that means that either way, you're like, if she's to be or if she's a Jedi, I'm here for either one.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for either. I get, you know what, but I think the thing is now Disney learned from the first season
Mm-hmm.
because when they dropped Disney Plus and the first season was straight up just the Mandalorian, that was all they had to offer. They didn't
Yeah.
have anything to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
So now they like Disney Plus is like, yo, once the Mandalorian done, here's a bunch of shows and movies to keep you into it because it was you just didn't know. You didn't have anything. The Mandalorian is good. It's a good story. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it doesn't have to be a Skywalker story.
Yeah. And I don't think they. I know they're talking about having more of a through line than the single adventure type this season.
Mm,
It's each episode is its own little mini adventure, and yeah, they kind of loosely, but having a more of a
yeah.
thread. I'm cool with that, and honestly, the in Favreau and Filoni we trust is
Favreau, Filoni, Feige. We have
yeah,
not had problems with or none. Let's
right,
just be realistic. When
yeah.
we think about John Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Kevin Feige have given us, you like, can you go wrong with them?
I'm sure sooner or later, but because everybody's gonna have
At the same
uh,
time, because it's like, okay, so with that saying, every single movie or TV show they've done has never been perfect because
right,
nothing ever will be. But for the most part, we've all been like, yes,
yep,
yes.
yeah. That's it's I'm interested. I hear so many rumors of the other stuff they have coming, And now I know they're following this season of Mandalorian up with WandaVision. They just announced.
When? Because Disney released their thing and WandaVision isn't on it.
Oh, really? I
Nope.
thought
It was in that. So it was in that trailer. It was in that trailer, that big trailer that they dropped, and everybody thought because it was in that trailer, it was saying WandaVision is coming soon. So what Disney, unless they decide to change something, that Disney was smart that when they dropped that what's coming in October, November, and December, they didn't list WandaVision.
okay.
Let me see. I'm gonna look at it because I don't think they did Disney Plus releases.
I
Let
thought
me
I
see.
heard, and
Yeah, because they didn't want to do that because they were like, oh, because I mean it makes sense if you don't do it that way. Where was it?
but they need something, like you said, they need something to follow it up. Keep.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They have to. You have to have something to follow it up. You just can't you can't do that same thing you did before where you just had nothing.
Yeah.
You had nothing. And it's like you can't have it where it's you got this big show and the only thing you have behind it is a National Geographic series. You know what I'm saying? You can't have that.
Yeah. Well, and I think they did that roundtable discussion just to okay, throw the wild animals a bone, you know,
Mhm.
get Favreau and Filoni and some other people sitting around the table and do kind of like Favreau's old dinner for five, or just
Wait, is WandaVision on the schedule?
that's I th- and I'm trying to remember where I heard it. It might have been SCN that
Because
they.
everybody just automatically assumed because it said late 2020, but when they had the list, it didn't have it.
Uh,
Let me, because I'm looking at different things. Because all they did, they used that in the video. That's why I was like, nobody. Where? Let me see. Let's see. One Division is also included. Blah 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 blah. One Division. It's Where was that? Let me go photos because there was a thing. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, because it just I don't remember seeing it. Because I remember looking over it when I was like, everybody was like, oh, WandaVision's coming. And I was like, wait, I didn't see WandaVision in that.
mm,
Because I saw all the movies there. Here it is. This is what I'm looking at. Yeah. Because it's fall on Disney Plus. So I'm looking at all the originals. So for September is Becoming, The Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, The Secret Society of Second Born Royals. That's September. October is The Right Stuff, Meet the Chimps, Cloud, Once Upon. Oh, okay. It's probably December. It is. That's my bad. Because it's only September, October, November on the It's Fall thing.
oh, okay.
So that's when they say late 2020, you'll get WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Again, I was like, I didn't see it because again, the trailer thing made everybody was like, yeah, it's coming out 2020. But then when it's fall Disney something, I'm like, this Sony says September, October, November. It says nothing about WandaVision. Like there's no WandaVision, there's no Falcon Winter Soldier, which again is the whole thing with that is all still weird to me because it's like all these were supposed to be part of the continuity of the MCU. And COVID messed up everything. And the big part is because they don't know how they're gonna drop Black Widow.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I would pay $30 for Black Widow on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'd pay. Well, we did pay for Mulan, but that was more my wife. Um, but I'd pay 30 for that. I would actually Black Widow would be one of the movies I'd go to the theater for. I was I didn't I know Tenet was hyped, but it just wasn't my thing.
I heard so many conflicting things about Tenet that I was like, I'm good. I can wait.
Yeah. But it wasn't. I know everybody was pumping it as a big movie, but it wasn't my big movie. It wouldn't get me out to the theater in COVID.
No, it
There's
wasn't. It wasn't again. It wasn't that. It for damn sure wasn't the New Mutants.
yeah, yeah, one the New Mutant one. Now, if they drop the Star Wars or a new Marvel or DC movie,
That's a whole different ballgame.
I'd be like, okay, mask, here we go.
I get this mask and gonna make sure I got all his hands sanitized. Like I'm
Draw
going in.
my little Batman symbol on my mask or something.
Yeah, like we don't know why I'm here. I just couldn't. I just didn't think that I like. I'm a Christopher Nolan fan with certain movies. Again, I love his Batman trilogy. Inception still has me trying to figure out what happened. Like
I really like Dunkirk, but
I didn't see Dunkirk. I needed to see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, it's I'm history buff in that. So, and he did one thing. He did the Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, let's not show you the movie in order, or
Oh, he did that with Dunkirk.
Yeah. So you jump there. There's the battle in France. There's the British people on the coast, and then there's the air battle, which is Tom Hardy's big thing.
Oh,
between and out of order. So it is a little wonky that way, but really it came out about the same time as the one with about Winston Churchill. That was about the same time with Gary Oldman.
Yeah, the Darkest Hour.
Darkest Hour. So they kind of match up. Now, The Darkest Hour I thought was a lot better movie, but Dunkirk was the same events that they were covering, so it was kind of cool.
It's funny when I heard about that. I was like, "Yo, these are the exact." It's like it's like when you have those two movies, Dunkirk and Darkest Hour. It was like when we had two Steve Jobs movies at the same, back to back.
Yeah, that's happened. You had what was it? The two president daughter movies, one with Katie Holmes and the other one or Deep Impact and Armageddon came out.
And Armageddon at the same. Like it was the same. Like we were but that was the time when we had Deep Impact and Armageddon. Though that was the whole time we were getting just all of the end of the world apocalyptic type movies with destructive weather. We got the Day Tomorrow, all these other things. It's just really like, okay, just the world is just coming to a crash and halt.
Yeah, it's funny how I know there's tons of scripts out there that how the same thing can rise up in two different places at the same time. But
yeah, that was weird.
You're really
you still there?
Up. Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I saw it break up. I was like, that was weird that it broke up. No, I was saying like it's just the different directors do different takes. The internet, all the services acting real stupid tonight because I'm on my cell phone doing this now, and my cell dropped, and I was like, that's really crazy.
Wow. Internet. You gotta love it.
The World Wide Web, right?
I get paid to fix this stuff, and sometimes I just I love how things will come back and I haven't done anything. Oh, thank you. You fixed it. Yeah, sure. Okay.
You're like, no, I was just here. What are you talking about?
But I'm trying to remember what we were talking about that I said I was going to bring up this month or save for this month.
Here we go. I'm gonna slide on out this one. Slide that one in. Slide that out. There we go. Bam. There it goes. I can't remember what I'm trying to think. What was it we were talking about that we said we said we were going to wait till?
I hate the sound of my own voice, so I don't really watch the replays. I maybe should.
You sound like, you know what, as somebody who works on the internet and does all this stuff, you'd be surprised as much as I talk and have to talk, how much I just like, I don't want to hear me, especially when I'm doing stand up and I got to listen to myself to remember jokes, or like, yo, I know I said something funny off the top of my head and got to remember that. And it's like, I don't want to hear myself.
But I
Was it
do
wrestling? It was something with wrestling.
wrestling. Um, well, I did want to ask you about heels because it seemed like there was a story there. I don't know if you can get into it or
So all I know is that, I knew who was casting it, and because I knew who was casting, because she cast me in the movie, I told my manager, like, yo, get me in on this. Like, this is a show about pro wrestling. This is right up my alleyway. Didn't get in. I know that they got James Harrison from they used to play for the Steelers. He's on it. It's it's supposed to, they shot in Atlanta, I think, of course, but it's ready to happen, come out pretty soon.
That's too bad. That would have been perfect. I think there needs to be more those, because right before now we only ever had Glow. That
Don't worry. If I get my way and if I can work some stuff out, man, I'm working on one, because I'm like, yo, I might as well write it from the angle in which I know.
Yeah,
And so I've never written a script before for a television show, so that's been a lot of growing pains with that. So learning how to write a script, but it's like, okay, I see these stories and people are, again, Glow told me something I didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. People will watch a good story that is something that has a compelling story about professional wrestling. People will watch it. They'll go. It has to go past the what you just see in the ring. You know what I'm saying? People will watch stuff like that. And so I always knew that, but I was like, yo, I have a story. And again, I know a bunch of other wrestlers who have stories, but it's just about what makes our different stories unique and worth telling. And I try to write it because I'm, like I said, this is the first time ever writing a script ever. And so I'm literally going through the growing pains with it, knowing how, okay, I have to shorten, I have to compress this, I have to make sure grammatically this works, but I don't want the character to speak grammatically, but the stage direction needs to be grammatically correct and things like that. And I'm like, okay, I need to make sure people know what they're seeing. I have to write this, because that's the one thing about writing a script is you have to write it where the person reading it can literally see in their head because you can see it because you writing it, like you can see it, but you have to have it where the person reading it can be like, oh shit, I pictured this and I see exactly what's happening here, what's happening there. I'm like, okay, whew. Because I wrote one draft and I thought I was done. I did like almost 40 pages because I wanted to be a half-hour show, because I feel like an hour can be too long sometimes. So give me 30 minutes, a half-hour show, boom, keep the episodes flowing. I wrote like 40 pages, because it's like 40 pages before you break down an hour or something like that. Because actually it's like 30 some become 22, depending on if you have cut commercials or whatever, but nonetheless. And I wrote it, and I let one of my director buddies read it, and he gave me actual professional notes. He gave me notes that hit me so hard in the soul, Jim. I almost never wanted to write again. I was like, I'm not doing this in my life. It was like, he was like, you've never had training. I was like, no. He's like, well, that's number one. He's like, it's not saying that it's terrible, but it's going to take time because you've never had training doing this. You've never done this before. He's like, your story, it's all over the place. You need to make it more streamlined, make it where, we vibe with these characters. Why do we rock with these characters? And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. Like, I printed out the email he gave me on purpose to help guide me. So I don't, I still have the email in my inbox, of course, but it's like, all right, cool. Let me try this again. And been sitting up nights just trying to get a page of a script together. Like when I was first writing it, I was like, bah, 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 bah. I was knocking out 5 pages a day. You know what I'm saying? Like getting some good script work done. But now I'm more detailed with it and making sure everything moves like I wanted to move.
Yeah. I think that's a untapped market, and I think Glow showed that because it got good ratings. People tuned in. I was a little
4 seasons.
Yeah, I'm wait. I hope the fourth season gets back a little more to the wrestling. I was a little season three. I felt like was bait and switch. Not that they were bad, but they went all with the social side,
Well,
and
well,
it's like they forgot that they
it's
were
one
a
of those
wrestler,
things where it's like we figure we got the audience already. We can do what we want.
right?
But
And then
and think about it, we see so many shows that do that on a
yeah,
regular.
yeah, it's not a it's nothing that's going to keep me from watching season four or anything. It's I was there as a wrestling fan, you know. I loved seeing them try to learn to, one of the
Yeah,
funny scenes is when Cherry and Tamay are talking about getting the two girls to do the KKK.
yeah,
Uh, do, do you see that? It's okay if the black girls ask us to do it. It's not racist,
it's
right?
not racist. It's like speaking of, have you watched are you into AEW or
I catch a lot of the AE Darks on
yeah?
YouTube. I'm in a lull in my wrestling fandom right now.
Look, as a wrestler, I guess because it's people have gotten so used to for years, no matter whether or not they want to admit it, the crowds being there made a big difference.
Yeah,
And cause some people used to be like, I used to remember our people argue like, "Yo, it don't matter if the crowd's there or not." Yes, it does.
they are.
Yes, it does.
I've said they are the third actor in the play.
Yes, they are.
Um,
Yes, they are.
you got heel, baby face, crowd, and all
Hmm.
need to work together. It's I've
And
booed
that,
people that I personally love, that I've met, but they come out, boo, you suck,
yep. Yeah, that's how it is. And then, like I say, now you got AEW because they have Daly's Place and it's Florida.
Mm,
They're letting people in, but they put them in the back. The only people that are up close are like people who work with the company, really.
okay.
Which I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah,
But then you got the WWE doing the whole Zoom audience,
yeah,
which is even more weird than not having an audience.
yeah, yeah.
Because I was like,
And they've been doing that. I saw they're doing that like underground fight club type stuff. It's the one of the Dark Side of the Rings was the Brawl for All that uh
Bart Gunn and Butterbean and all them.
that oh, what's his name? Cornet hates him.
That's a
The,
long list.
yeah, the the guy that kind of he took down WCW at the
Oh, Vince
end.
Russo.
Russo, yeah. I that guy is
He's a
he
cancer on pro wrestling.
yeah, he personally maybe he didn't kill the business, but he gave it the Nancy Kerrigan knee shot.
Yes, he did. He almost did, and he almost killed it under the guise of "I'm trying to help the business."
Yeah, it's even today you listen to him. He's interviewed in that, and he thinks it's great. And
Of course, he does.
uh, I don't go out to tough guy competitions to watch drunks beat up each other in the bar because that's not that to me that's not entertainment. It's kind of sad or like in the early days of YouTube you'd have the bum fight. That is
Oh, don't
yeah,
I remember those? And here's the messed up part. So I used to work at a nightclub in downtown Los Angeles called the Reserve, and of course I'm off work. I get off work at 2:30 in the morning. And there was one of the dudes who was the main dude from bum fights. Like I would see him every night. Like he's still a homeless guy.
oh
And
geez.
like people would notice, like, because LA has a lot of tourists and just
Hmm.
idiots per se. And people be like, yo, you dude from bum fights. And like people go on their Instagrams and Snapchats, like, yo, I'm with it, blah, 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 from bum fights. I'm like, yo, I don't know if you realize or not, this is not good promotion by any means.
Yeah. But that's it's he who had that mentality that he keeps bringing up Jerry Springer and is like I don't care who screwed whose cousin and so it was never something I got excited about. Uh, Yeah.
Yeah, it's
He apologized to the whole crowd.
Maury Povich.
Or, yeah, I mean that bringing that into wrestling. I mean, wrestling can be what and do whatever it wants, but it it takes
But
away from it
but
really.
but the thing is, even though it does, and I agree with you, I definitely agree with you. The thing is, it goes back to the number one thing I always have to tell people though. When you're watching Raw, SmackDown, or even watching Nitro or now Dynamite, even though what AEW and Cody them have said, you're not watching a wrestling show. You're watching a TV show centered around wrestling.
Yeah,
And there's a big difference.
yeah,
There's a big difference, especially when you need to draw viewers in. You need something that's compelling enough to just say, not only here's just the action in the ring, but what else about it? So you got to have these storylines. You got to have this drama, this big soap opera, and you have all that. So people forget that. Like a lot of people would like, oh, well, I don't want all these promos. I don't want this storyline. I just want wrestling. I'm like, yeah, well, you're not going to get that unless the show says specifically, we're a wrestling show.
right.
Which AEW Dynamite has said that. Let me take that back. They've said we're a wrestling show. But unless they tell you that specifically, you're getting a TV show centered around wrestling. And it's a
Yeah,
big difference. Yeah, the wrestling matters. And then, yeah, you have those pay-per-views where it's about the matches because that's what everything leads to, these big events. These mid-season and season finales. Because that's what you can consider all of the four big pay-per-views. Well, their mid-season breaks. So the Royal Rumble is the last mid-season break. The first one is SummerSlam, then it's Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, and the season finale is WrestleMania because
yep.
that's considered the end of the year for them.
Hmm.
And so, when people like, I get it. I wholeheartedly get it. Like, yo, I want more action in the ring. This is what I want. And I'm like, all right, well, now you got to deal with Retribution, which makes no sense on Raw
Yeah.
and SmackDown. Like Retribution would only have made sense if it was fired wrestlers they brought back.
Hmm.
That's the
Yeah,
only way Retribution would have made sense.
yeah, and they could have done that easy enough. We're gonna put out the future endeavors post, but you're still on the payroll. We're gonna hide you for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
bring you back. Retribution now is kind of like just another attempt at NWO or the Ministry or the
No,
the
it's Vince's version of Antifa.
uh,
That's
yeah,
it's and the problem is it's with all NXT talent who we've pretty much all identified who is who.
yeah,
So like one is Dio Madden, the other is Dominic Dijakovic. Mia Yim is one of the girls, as well as Chelsea Green. And Mia Yim is one of the girls because of what happened on Monday.
oh
So
that's
Monday, there was a match between Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee. If Keith wins and Randy can't make it at Clash of Champions, Keith is in the WWE title match. Their match doesn't have a finish. It goes to no contest because Retribution enters the ring. Of course, they trying to hold him off. Retribution beats their ass. But at one point, one of the girls comes over and just starts wailing on Keith. And I'm like, that's Mia Yim to make sure he's okay.
yeah,
Because they're actually
yeah.
coupled. So she's
Hmm.
like, she goes over to him because that's the first time I've seen like a girl go on one of the guys.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's Mia Yim checking on him. But it just doesn't, because it makes no sense with it being NXT talent because there's
yeah,
nothing about NXT talent that says they should be a retribution to the
right.
main roster.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if I'm going to watch anything, it's usually NXT now because it's the old, the closest to the old wrestling that I
Mm-hmm.
like. Um,
That's Hunter. That's Hunter and Michael. That's Hunter and Sean.
yeah, yeah, I know people have problems with Hunter, but since he's run that, I can't complain about anything he's done.
I would rather keep Hunter running that, doing what he's doing, than him having to go fill in on one of the shows because somebody's not stepping up or they really need
Uh,
talent. He has to go fill in. Now he's got to put his boots back on, which he probably don't want to.
nah, Well, and he was talking about he's not going to be Vince. He's retiring here at some point. I mean, he's 51 or 52 now. So
Mhm.
he's a few years away from it, but he says I'm not going to be doing this at 75. He says I'm going to call it a day someday and walk away.
Yeah, like walk away with your, walk away and just stay away. I understand. I again, as somebody who walked away and thought he was done, but
Hmm.
now his whole, his physical thing is like, I can go a little bit and I enjoy it, even though I want to make sure the shows I do count. I get it, but
Hmm.
don't be like, well, Flair's a whole different ballgame because Flair had alimony payments. So we were like, yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta understand why you're here.
Yeah, but even with Flair hung on to where you worried he was going to have a heart attack in the
Oh, oh,
ring, or
oh, oh! I
yeah,
never.
I
There's
mean,
never a moment.
there.
There's never a moment now when Ric Flair is either on just TV or
Mhm.
steps in those ropes that I think we are going to watch him die live.
Yeah, I think it will happen someday if he doesn't doesn't change.
I
But
think that'll be to watch Rick. I think we saw Jerry. We didn't see, but we heard Jerry
right,
Lawler drop. We
hmm,
saw Owen Hart when he fell.
right,
I think that would be the most traumatizing thing to watch Ric Flair die in ring.
yeah, yeah, it's. And I understand that, I think we talked about it before, is some of these guys get done at wrestling in their 40s, 50. They don't have anything else to do, so they just
Um,
keep coming back. But, you look at a lot of them own construction companies or auto, the one, the
Taker
ones,
had real estate companies.
yeah.
Taker has like when people say money outside of here, like, yeah, he's a multimillionaire in the WWE, of course.
Mhm.
But that man took his money and invested in one of the best things you could ever invest in, real estate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taker has real estate companies. Some people can go to acting, but some can't.
Yeah.
Again, Godfather owns car dealerships.
Yeah. Well, that's in its uh I was trying to think who. Well, I just saw there. They own a construction company down in Florida. He makes millions, building restaurants and hotels and all different stuff. And he's like, yeah, wrestling paid for this, but this is my life now.
And you gotta, but that's the thing, you gotta have that. And that's one of the things just for me that I make sure that I do have where, yeah, if I let's say I get back in the let's say I'm back and then all of a sudden one of the companies like, yo, we want to offer you a deal to do this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, cool, cool. I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm training, I'm doing this, I'm making money, I'm doing what I love. Well, guess what? Once I'm done, I can go back to everything else that I had that I established already.
Mhm.
Because now not only will I go back to that established, I have more credibility and eyes on me that pump it up. So now when I want to go in auditions, for TV shows and movies, I'm more inclined to get in the room because, oh, that's the dude that was the former wrestler,
Yeah.
that people saw. And it's just utilizing that. But a lot of guys have no out. It's the WWE or busted. And of course, yeah, I agree because Will Smith used to say this thing: if you ever make a plan B, you allow some room for failure. You know what I'm saying? Like you shouldn't have a plan B. It should always just be a plan A. And I get it, but at the same time, when you're talking about a business like that, that's just like being in any pro sport.
Yeah.
You need a plan B.
That to me that sounds like and this isn't on race, but it's the rich person attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's real easy not to have a plan B when you got millions sitting there. If plan A, if some,
Plan A don't work. Yeah.
yeah, it's another thing if, okay, I got this month's rents and utilities and I got food.
Right.
Okay,
I got $1,300 sitting in the bank to hold me over. So like something has to like no. I need to make sure I can live after that. No, I get it, man. I completely do. I just want to see the business is evolving,
hmm,
and it's a weird evolution because we're talking about how there's a TV show and there's storylines and stuff like that. How now you have a lot of the wrestlers who don't when their matches, there's no story to it. It's just go out and do what you do. But it's like when you get to these bigger companies, which most people want to do that, like, yo, you got to be able to change up and adhere to the storyline. It can't always be about your talent, which your talent is great, but now you have to be talented on numerous levels.
Yeah. Well, and even if you got signed by a bigger company, you would be able to, say you're in Chicago, call up and get a stand-up gig or something. Oh, yep, dropped again.
There we go.
Okay. No, but I was just
Oh,
saying that if you do get signed and you're on the road with the wrestling company,
oh yeah.
you could call ahead. Hey, I'll be here these dates. Give me a 15 minutes at this comedy store or something, so you keep up.
Mm-hmm. That's the, that's the goal, man. That is the goal. Listen, brother, I
Yeah.
like talking, but
No
we gotta cut
worries.
this one short. Well, it's not even
Yeah.
short. We're over an hour, but I gotta go finish
Yeah.
packing and get ready to leave out in the morning. I know we can have this wrestling
Yeah.
conversation all night because you already know I can go with it. So we're gonna
Oh,
just gonna do this, man. Thank
one
you as
final
always,
thing. You
Jim.
guys are looking for blurs,
Go ahead.
what to call. I think we need to be the henchmen for you.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the poll.
Well, I was thinking for the supervillain squad here.
Oh, for the squad. Okay,
I,
I can live with that. But I can live with that being a henchman for the squad. But I think we're looking
yeah,
for something for the blurred audience as a whole. And that was the one because I'm like, yo,
yeah,
what do we call them? Like, we'll figure it
yeah,
out, man. We'll figure it out. But as always, thank you so much, Jim.
yeah. Thank you, Jay.
Man, enjoy your third shift working. And to everybody watching, as always, thank y'all. Y'all already know the drill, how to find me and everything. You know where everything is and where I am. And stay tuned for another one-on-one with a supervillain. I'm out of here. Take care. I'll let y'all. Bye.